Hey everyone, James Lynch here. I wanted to do a quick video on this whole thing that's been surfacing online about SteveWillDoIt, the influencer's friendship and sponsorship of Issac Dulgarian before this whole fight fixing scandal came into the equation. I've seen posts like this all over the internet, and I wanted to add some context to this. Now, I'm not saying that Steve isn't involved or isn't involved. I'm just adding some things to this equation that I don't see a lot of people talking about, and I think it's important to get to. So people have dug up this old interview with my good buddy John Coe over at the All-Star. The All-Star, they used to do a lot of fighter interviews. They're not doing that anymore. So in this clip, and I see this on Twitter as well, Issac Dulgarian admits that SteveWillDoIt helped him buy a house, was helped paying for things. In this tweet as well, I see this user saying, we'll just read the tweet overall. It says, haven't seen this clip shared anywhere regarding the Issac Dulgarian UFC betting scandal. Dulgarian mentions that his sponsor, SteveWillDoIt, degenerate gambler who's friends with Dana White, gifted him a beautiful house and is paying for all the recovery and stuff that he couldn't afford beforehand. He also goes on to mention that country singer Zach Bryan helped him out a little bit after losing that fight, referring to the loss against Christian Rodriguez. I think there's a reasonable chance that all of these fights were fixed. There's a lot of context missing from this, and I'm going to tell you about it in a second, but let's listen to what Dulgarian says in this clip, which kind of backs up what is said here in the tweet.
Well, what are these things? Can you reveal to us what happened?
Well, I got this beautiful house.
Oh, of course.
My sponsor, SteveWillDoIt, helped me out a lot on that, and yeah, I just have I'm getting all the recovery and stuff that I should have been getting before that I couldn't necessarily afford. So yeah, man, I'm just happier. I have my daughter now with me, and yeah, everything's just looking up since that fight. I actually had Zach Bryan. He messaged me after my fight. Cool, he's an awesome country singer, and he helped me out with some. He helped me out a little bit for losing that fight because he thought I won as well. So that was amazing.
Okay, so yeah, it confirms this in the clip. I just wanted to show it just in case people weren't thinking that, he's just saying this for nothing. You can hear it in the clip. He mentions SteveWillDoIt and Zach Bryan. Okay, a lot of context left out of this entire equation. Let's go back a couple years. So first and foremost, I think what a lot of people forget is how Issac Dulgarian got in the UFC. This was a couple years back. We're going to go to Tapology, and I'm going to show you the card he fought on before the UFC. It was a looking for the fight, a fight event. This was the FAC 12 card, looking for a fight back in February 6, 2022. I don't know if they do this anymore. Sometimes they do, but there's times when Dana White or Sean Shelby will go to cards and they'll outright sign fighters. They used to do it more often with Contender Series coming in. They don't do it as much. Anyways, he gets the first round finish there and he gets signed to the UFC, but the Nelk Boys were there. And the idea was that not only was he going to win a contract with the UFC, but he was going to get a sponsorship from the Nelk Boys. My buddy Cole Shelton interviews Issac Dulgarian back in 2023 because a lot of us saw that Dulgarian won the fight, got the contract. That was in February of 2022. He didn't make his UFC debut until August of 2023. Obviously, there was a injury here, or there was some reason he withdrew back in January as well. But anyways, this article here from Cole, you guys can find it there on bjpen.com. We'll read what it says here because, again, this adds a little bit more context. So it says, back at FSC 12, which served as the Dana White looking for a fight episode, UFC was teaming up with the Nelk Boys so they could sponsor a fighter to get them in the UFC. The Las Vegas-based promotion made it a big deal, and it was Dulgarian who got the first round KO. Nearly a year later, it has not come to fruition for a few reasons. Here's what Dulgarian told Cole Shelton. He says, I won the Nelk Boys sponsorship. We are still delegating what is going on with that. I was told it would be taken care of before my fight. Just trying to get in contact with them and making sure our schedules match. It's hard because they are busy and I'm out here training. I'm hoping we get something figured out before or my fight after. And then it says, although the deal hasn't happened, Dulgarian, who was supposed to make his UFC debut at UFC Vegas 67 before withdrawing due to okay, so that was an injury. That's what actually took him out of that fight. 26-year-old knows having the Nelk Boys would be massive for his career. Oh yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for me as a young athlete coming up. I could use some backing and support for them. It would help get my name out there even more, help my career skyrocket. I've been competing in combat sports for 18 years now, hoping it finally pays off. I've been competing since I was 8 years old. Okay, anyway, so what happened, my understanding was, I couldn't find an article on this, but I know this was a fact, and if you guys want to do some digging yourselves, you can find it out. So my understanding was the issue wasn't that the Nelk Boys weren't going to sponsor him. They thought they were going to manage him, like as in manage his entire career. The problem is Dulgarian was already with management with Iridium Sports and Jason House. And my understanding was that's what held up everything with this deal. So I don't think he ended up getting the sponsorship, was my understanding, because of this whole issue with Iridium Sports. So Dulgarian's thinking he's getting the sponsorship money. It doesn't come through. He's got this relationship with Jason House. So where SteveWillDoIt fits into this, I know you probably guys are watching this going, what does this have to do with SteveWillDoIt? So SteveWillDoIt is friends with the Nelk Boys. My understanding is that because this didn't pan out with the Nelk Boys deal, is that SteveWillDoIt kind of did it as like a favor. We know he's very charitable. And if you guys don't know who SteveWillDoIt is, he is an influencer, mainly known for like gambling. There's all these clips, SteveWillDoIt's insane gambling stuff, betting $5,000, all this different stuff. He's a little bit reckless. He's also friends with Dana White. So naturally what people are doing is they're saying, oh, is SteveWillDoIt on the fix because he bets a lot? He's friends with Dana White. Like, is there something going on here? That may be true. I'm not going to sit here in this video and say that he's not involved in any of this. I don't know the answer to that. Sorry to break it to you guys, but I wanted to add some context because no one's mentioning the fact about this Nelk Boys deal, which does factor into why SteveWillDoIt sponsored him. Another thing I wanted to bring up, and I knew this in an interview I did with Dulgarian as well. There was a point when Dulgarian was living in an RV outside of Factory X. So if you guys don't know what happened, I'll kind of do the Cole's notes here. Back when Dulgarian was training at Glory MMA and the stuff with James Krause went down, a bunch of the fighters went elsewhere. I also see some rumors online that all these fighters went to Factory X. That's not true. Okay. It was only Issac Dulgarian. It was only David Onama and Julian Marquez. And Marquez actually wasn't at Factory X that long. I think he was only there for a couple camps. Marquez then went to the MMA lab. It was Onama and Dulgarian. I've heard some people say Tim Elliott was at Factory X. No, he wasn't. Tim Elliott stayed in Missouri and then ended up going to Texas and training over there at Lucas Brennan's gym. That's where he is now. Anthony Smith. Oh, he left Glory. Anthony Smith was never at Glory. He trained at he trained at Glory, like did some cross training, but he never lived there. He was never like a mainstay at Glory. He's from Nebraska. He was at Factory X well before the James Krause scandal. So just wanted to clear that up because again, part of this video I wanted to do is just to add some context and clarification to everything. It wasn't every fighter going to Factory X. Some of them went to Zach Cummins' gym at Ignite. Some fighters went to Marathon MMA, Trey Ogden's gym. That's where Miles John and Mike Breeden went. Like there's a whole bunch of fighters that went in different spots. So just wanted to clear that up. But anyways, back to the Dulgarian thing. So he was one of the ones that went to Colorado, but cost of living there was expensive. There was all this stuff. So he ended up living in an RV for a year. And this article here on MMA Mania, this is from back in 2023. It says, expecting fodder who lives in gym's parking lot, confused about missing out on life-changing bonus. I earned it. So he was upset he didn't get the bonus. But I wanted to bring this up because he was living in an RV. I actually remember doing an interview with him. I couldn't find it, but he was in the RV. And then he's about to have a kid. So this is where the house coming in from SteveWillDoIt factored into this. Again, I'm not saying SteveWillDoIt is or is not involved in this, but you got to add the context here. It's not that Dulgarian's like, like again, the guy's about to be a father. This is back in 2023. You're not going to raise a kid in an RV. That's not a great way of doing it, especially in Colorado where it's freezing cold. So my understanding was SteveWillDoIt helped him with the house, helped him with some finances. The Zach Bryan thing that he added in this tweet as well. Zach Bryan's good friends with Jason House's manager. That's what it is. There was a whole actually not scandal, but there was a whole thing where Barstool was going after Jason House and Iridium and people, members of that team, because they kept shutting out Zach Bryan because, obviously Bryan's friends with his manager. And because Barstool was upset with Zach Bryan because of the whole Brianna Chickenfly thing. That's a whole different issue. But again, the Zach Bryan thing, there's a tie there to his manager. That's what it's from. So this guy saying all 4 of his fights were fixed. You got to add the context. Like, again, I don't know if people don't know this or I don't think people are purposely doing this. I don't think they know. So I just wanted to do this video to kind of clear some things up. We've got a guy in Dulgarian who, again, like was living in an RV, needed some financial help. There was the deal with the Nelk Boys that fell through. He gets some help from SteveWillDoIt. Get some help from Zach Bryan by the sounds of it. He's just a guy that's, taking a helping hand. Does that factor into the fight fixing thing? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. I have no proof of this. I have no proof one way or the other. You guys can theorize how you want. A lot of people, that's what they're doing online right now, is just they are making up. I mean, there's people, frankly, that are just making things up without any evidence, like this Reddit thread that I post. Why would Dana White's gambling buddy sponsor Dulgarian? I just told you, because of the Nelk Boys thing falling through. So just wanted to add some context here. Again, you guys can think whatever you want. I don't know the answer right now. I'm going to continue to kind of keep tabs on this whole situation. But yeah, you got to mention the Nelk Boys sponsorship as to the relationship with SteveWillDoIt. That's basically why I did this video. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you make of this whole relationship with SteveWillDoIt and Issac Dulgarian? What do you make of the fact that SteveWillDoIt is good friends with Dana White? I mean, again, Dana White bets a lot of big money. Steve will do it. Bets a lot of big money. They're, people can theorize what they want. But yeah, my personal opinion is I don't think Steve will do it is involved in this. That's just my personal opinion. I don't have evidence saying he is or isn't in this video, unfortunately, but that's just my thoughts. But again, context is important, people. That's why I make these videos. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.